when they went into the fixed deposit account, they told him there was no money there. So the 550 million grew wings and flew away. But who is surprised? Because in Nigeria is where snake swallows money, is where termite eats money. So we don't know which one that ate this one from a bank. How many Nigerian banks have central bank fined so far? Access Bank is on the news the other day, and today is First Bank. Another day is another bank. Is it that central bank is not doing their job? Because they are the ones that are supposed to put an eye on what is going on in the financial system. Where is the Senate Committee on banking? Where is the House Committee on banking? So the things they're supposed to do, they don't do it. They don't. But they chase shadows and be telling Nigerians what they don't want to know. So it's so unfortunate that you cannot keep your money in the bank and close your eyes to sleep. How did these people have the courage to siphon 550 million belonging to a client, a customer from their bank? How? How did this money disappear? Hello guys, nice to have you guys today on my platform and welcome to my channel. Well, today we want to look into the banking sector because First Bank has been on the news lately for what is happening within the bank. There was a man, a Nigerian citizen who, opened a fixed deposit account with First Bank, and one of his intention was to ensure that First Bank remain operational, in his home state and his, community, and that is one of the reasons he has to make sure he puts his money, in the bank over there so that they will remain afloat and continue to, engage in their community. So this man deposited about 550 million fixed deposit account. And as you all know, that fixed deposit is an account that you put some amount of money and, have an agreement signed with the bank that you're not going to make use of that fund for a certain period of time. And the bank can be able to invest those funds in whatever business they want to invest it on. And they pay you annual percentage, yield on that account for the period of the number of years you have fixed the money. So that's how it works. So in most cases, people don't make use of those funds. It's kind of an idle fund that you have. You just put it in there to be yielding interest for you while you focus on other things. You're not going to touch the money for a certain period of time. However, in some cases, if you have some need, you want to withdraw part of the money, there are charges, for doing that. So it depends on whichever angle, you want to go. So you have to agree with the bank. So this man put a whopping sum of 550 million naira, which is $500 million, slightly above $500 million, into this bank. And I think he had another, account, which is a savings account, where he also had about 55 million, something more than that. So, but what happened was that the man, I think he stays in the diaspora or something, so he touched down into the country and, went to Abuja. So when he went to kind of withdraw some funds from the savings account, which holds over 55 million, naira. So it was there he discovered that 55 million was missing from the account. And they told him that he withdrew money from Abia State. I think that was his home state. And they said, no, I haven't been there. I'm still in Abuja for now. So I never made any withdrawal from the account. And this called for investigation, as the case may be. And during the investigation, they found out that, some of the bank staff had connived together to withdraw the sum of 55 million from this man's account, just like that. And the man, began to request for his funds back. And as God may have it, after a few weeks, the funds was retrieved and returned back to his account. And based on this, he was afraid. If they can tamper with this one, what about my fixed deposit? What happens? What am I supposed to do? Anyway, before you hear what happened to the fixed deposit, if you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel and press on the notification bell so that when I post the next video, you will be among those that will be notified. All right? And don't forget to share and like this video so that other people can learn from the experience of this man. All right? Okay, now I will tell you what happened to the fixed deposit account that contains 550 million naira. So because the experience the man had, from the savings account where 55 million just disappeared, just like that. So he now went to the bank, wrote to the bank and requested that he wants to close down his fixed deposit account so that he can mop up his money and whatever interest has yielded in the account. And probably, if he's withdrawing the money before the agreed time, obviously they're going to charge him, for doing that. But that's not his concern. His concern is to secure his money. When they went into the fixed deposit account, they told him there was no money there. So the 550 million grew wings and flew away. But who is surprised? Because in Nigeria is where snake swallows money, is where termite eats money. So we don't know which one that ate this one from a bank. Don't forget that a bank is like a secured, system where you can put in your fund and you go to sleep, knowing fully well that it is secured, knowing fully well that it is well invested to earn whatever interest that accrues to your account. But in this case, the reverse was the case. This man, 550 million, just disappeared, just like 55 million disappeared from the savings account. So he started pressuring the bank, I need my money back. I want my money back. And the bank said they don't know where the money went to. And that was what elicited, the fireworks in the court. And the man filed, a petition in the court, requesting the court to mandate First Bank to provide his funds. And that is what every reasonable person, need to do. But now, we have to learn from what happened in this scenario. All right. So, but before I dissect the key issues here, the failure of the Nigerian banking system, the failure of the banks themselves to do what they're supposed to do, let's hear from this man. And then from there, so that every one of us can be on the same page. And then I can begin to get into the nitty-gritty of this conversation. So guys, let's take a look at this video. And we'll be right back to analyze what really happened here. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
A Nigerian businessman, Dr. A.K. Agbai, has dragged First Bank of Nigeria before an Abia State High Court over what he described as premeditated fraud of over 550 million naira from his fixed deposit account with the bank. Well, according to his lawyers, First Bank has refused to return the deposit made by their client. This cumulative deposit amounting to 550 million naira was initiated by their client following the threat of withdrawal of the branch from Abriba, in furtherance to his desire to sustain the development of the community, which he is a leader. Well, the businessman's lawyer said trouble started in December 2023 when their client noticed that he could not gain access to his personal account through his bank app and could not reach his business development manager. He then approached the Gwarinpa branch of First Bank in Abuja, where he was told that 55 million naira had been removed in 6 consecutive transactions, whereas he was in Umuahia when the unauthorized deductions were made.
His petitions and requests for investigation into that tampering of his funds, nothing was done about it. And this is a bank where he had several deposits. So he now asks for his deposits in case such fraudulent practices fixed deposits. In case such fraudulent practices had also extended to them, that he didn't want anything to do with them again, because they had not shown good faith in the management of the funds. And they refused to release the funds, telling one story and another, asking for time, saying they wanted to investigate. In the course of their investigation, they sacked about 9 of their staff. Issues began to come up. The deposit advices for the fixed deposits issued by First Bank, they said they could not trace it in their system, so he should go away. He wrote to the bank's MD, he wrote to CBN, and each of them were saying, we are investigating, we are looking into it, we are investigating. So he had to bring the matter to court. The total deposit of 550 million is not such funds that one would fold his hands and allow it to go to waste. So that is the dispute that is now before the court.
What date are you giving now?
Now the court has adjourned to 26th of March and the 2nd of April for hearing to commence.
A certificate of fixed deposit issued to me, 250 million and 300 million respectively, for over 10 years. From 2014, I left that because I did not want First Bank to be removed from my hometown. Then over time, as the Lord will have it, upon arrival into Nigeria, from the airport I went straight to Abuja to pick some funds. 55 million in a savings account had disappeared. And that was what triggered this. They said I had just made a withdrawal at Umuahia. I said it could not have been possible. They triggered an investigation, and it happened that indeed bank officials had withdrawn 55 million in 6 installments of 10 million and 5 million respectively, of which they accepted. They accepted responsibility, and it took about 1 week for the funds to be returned to me. It was then I became very afraid, as anybody would. Then I wrote to say I wanted to terminate my fixed deposit, only to tell me that my money was nowhere to be found. Stories. I mean, can you imagine that? And in the course of that, I've found out that First Bank has involved themselves in a lot of criminal activities of their staff. And they want to shy away responsibility, as if their staff was different from them as an institution. Fixed means that the money is locked. Nobody should have access to it. And to the extent that the bank was unaware of their staff removing funds of individuals and using them for whatever purpose, that shows that there is a problem with supervision of the bank. And then to find out that it even happened at the highest level shows that something is fundamentally wrong with this bank. The bank has become a crime scene. There's need for investigation.
Welcome back. You've heard from the man, you've heard from the lawyers, and then what do you think? We've had cases where, especially those in the diaspora, we have had a lady who returned from, is it Italy, and they had about, I think, 50 million naira or something of that nature. And by the time she came back, hoping that her funds is there, she want to just embark into the business and things she had in mind to do, she went to the bank, the money is missing. The whole money was missing. And this brought a lot of drama, but at the end of the day, I think the bank began to refund the money up to close to the amount that was taken from the account. The question is this: who are these guys that is tampering with the accounts and the monies that belong to clients, to customers? Who are these people? They are not far-fetched. They are within the bank. They are employees of the bank. You heard the man from the video. You heard the lawyer said that when they did the investigation, they discovered that it was the employees that are stealing this money, and 9 people were let off the hook. It's not about firing them. No, you don't fire them. You send them to prison. That is how it is done globally. You can't steal money as an employee of a bank. You steal customers' funds from the bank you are working, and they just fire you. No, you will go to jail. So that will serve as a deterrent to others. So how do these people gain access to customers' account to steal the money? I will explain. First, what they do is, most of them that do these things are account officers to those accounts, or an account officer for that account will inform the colleague, and they will connive together. They will get a checkbook, develop checkbook in that account. They will forge the man's signature, and then they will be writing the check intermittently. When they write the first check, they may catch maybe 5 million. They sign the check, give it to someone else who is a stereo from them. The person comes from our side with his ID and catch the money. They give him a certain percentage and they take the rest. All right? After some weeks or months, they will sign another check. The person comes in again to cash the check, and they will ensure that they cash the check from their branch, where they will be the one to clear the check for payment. Do you understand? So that's what they do. And now it's a racket. And I did if you check some of my videos, in this YouTube channel, you're gonna see a video I did about banks and POS. Most of the fraud that happen in the banks, the fraud of this nature, happens at the branch offices. So the problem is that the CEOs are in the headquarters, in the head office. So they don't put close eyes on what happens in different branches. So most of these employees work hand in hand with most of the branch managers to be able to get this racket done. No single person can pull it alone, not to pull 55 million or 550 million, no. And again, being in the diaspora, all right, you don't necessarily make use of your account back home, in your home country, Nigeria, because the money you kept there is, maybe if there's any emergency, you can pull some money to sort it out. Or if anything happens to you where you are abroad, you can just, find your way back home. You can have something to, rely upon. So most people don't use it on day-to-day basis, just like somebody living in Nigeria does, because you live abroad, either you are spending dollar or euro or whichever currency in the country where you are. So your Naira account back home is not what you, make use of often. So when they discover there's no traffic in that account, that the person withdrew money last from that account a year ago or 2 years ago, they will know that something is, that this person is not within the country. So they will target such account. Then again, when they see that for the next 5 years, like the fixed deposit, the man fixed it for 10 years since 2014. For over 10 years now, the money has been in that account growing. Now, when they see such length, they will feel, this person maybe is dead and nobody knows. they will jump into that account and then they will begin to pick whatever they see from that account. Some assume that the person is late. That's why for the past 10 years, nothing has happened in this account. How can somebody in this harsh economy fix 550 million for 10 years without touching it? No, something is wrong. So they will delve into it and begin to steal from that account, gradually. So the issue here is that there is poor internal control mechanism in these banks. The quality control mechanism is non-functional. You can't try this abroad because every quarter you have to report. There are internal policies that track what you do as an employee. The system tracks every movement you make within the bank. Any site you open, any account you open, any page you open, it has your name, it has your timestamp, it has everything about you, so you can't escape. So if that is the case, they will see the person who opened the account, who operated the account, who withdrew money, your name, your ID, your everything will be there. So you can't hide. And from there, they have your details. So this is not new. There have been cases of this nature, but this amount is so humongous. 500 million, slightly above 500 million, was just stolen in the bank. So is it that the bank is no more a safe place to keep money? So what we are trying to understand is that people should begin to keep their money under their pillows or dig a sock away and be putting their money there. Is it where we are heading to this time? And when you look at all these problems going on within the country, you keep wondering how people in power will be asking women to make them happy. How people will be suspending people because they brought allegation to the floor of the Senate. What are they doing? They were elected to make serious laws that will be able to plug all these loopholes. What is central bank doing? That every time we'll be hearing cases of bank fraudulent activities, bank robbing their customers and stuff like that. What is central bank doing? Look at the man that he called central bank. He wrote to central bank. They said they are investigating. How many years will it take them to investigate? In the first place, how do an employee have access to a client's account to withdraw money from it? How? How does that happen? The man has all his documentation with him. In his service account, nobody can withdraw except him. He signs and withdraw. How do somebody else have access to that account if it is not about porous financial system? And those money kept disappearing to the tune of 55 million in the service account and over half a billion in the fixed deposit account. So the system is no more safe. So how do you now encourage those in the diaspora to work hard and remit money back home? How? Because where will they keep it? They need to put it in the bank. Why is all this happening? Every day we must hear one news or the other coming out from the financial system. We're supposed to be the safest place. Okay, now, looking at what is happening today, those investors we are looking at, where will they be putting the money? Is it not in the Nigerian banks? And if they are putting their money in the Nigerian banks, and the employees of these banks are looting the money, just like they did to this man, which other foreign investor will come? They can't be keeping their money at home. So it is now a high risk for someone to work and put his money in the bank in Nigeria. Is that where we are heading to? The Central Bank of Nigeria, you guys need to wake up. Because I've said this in my videos, in my previous videos. How many Nigerian banks have Central Bank fined so far? How many? Access Bank is on the news the other day, right? And today is First Bank. Another day is another bank. Why? Is it that Central Bank is not doing their job? Because they are the ones that are supposed to put an eye on what is going on in the financial system. Where is the Senate Committee on banking? Where is the House Committee on banking? So the thing they're supposed to do, they don't do it. They don't. But they chase shadows and be telling Nigerians what they don't want to know. So it's so unfortunate that you cannot keep your money in the bank and close your eyes to sleep. How did these people have the courage to siphon 550 million belonging to a client, a customer from their bank? How? How did this money disappear? How? So they have to trace whoever is involved, not just firing them from their job, but also ensuring that they are tried and sent to jail. Until you start jailing these employees, this thing will not stop. Again, I will tell you another reason. They don't conduct background checks on employees in Nigeria. For you to get a job abroad, not to talk of a bank in abroad, they will conduct background check on you. Do you have crime history? Do you have any felony? Do you have, they check everything. The school you say you attend, did you attend it? Did you have the, skill you say you have? They will check everything about you, your crime history and all that. They will know your location, know your address, know everything. They will have your IDs, your social security numbers and whatever. Everything will be with them. So you can't steal and escape. You must be armed. And the system, the work platform where you work, tracks all your activities per time. Any site you are, any page you open, any tool you are opening in the account, your name, the time you came there, the time you left, everything will be recorded. So there are communication platforms. You can't use your phone to be calling someone else. No, everything is provided. The official phone is what you use for official business. Whatever you do is monitored. There's CCTV everywhere and stuff like that. So how are these guys be doing this thing without their branch manager knowing, without the corporate office knowing? That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So somebody worked hard, put his money in your bank, and now he's going to court paying lawyers. What is the point? He's going to pay lawyers. It's going to take a long time in the court for them to adjudicate on this case and then give judgment. So what happens to his money plus the interest? He can't even find his capital, not to talk about the interest the money supposed to have yielded in 10 years. He has fixed it. This is a very big problem. So there's no confidence in the banking system. And one major driver of a banking system, financial system, is confidence. When this confidence is eroded, there is no more bank. Somebody can put money in the bank and is afraid what will happen. And how do you encourage people to change money and put in their account back home? How? When they don't know what will happen to the money in the next 1 hour. And these banks employ criminals. Most of them are criminals, criminal-minded people who sit down looking for someone else's money, buying an expensive car, living in expensive and building houses in the village or in the city. And they will be shouting, they are working in the bank, they are making it, not knowing that it's clients' money that they are stealing to live a extravagant life. And they are making order of their colleagues who are not in the banking system to feel as if they are not working hard because of the way they will be spending money, going to club and spraying money on strippers because it's easy for them to sign signature and steal from somebody else. So the DSS, the Nigerian government, the central bank, the Ministry of Finance, all of you guys need to come together to put an end to this madness. Because when confidence is totally eroded in a financial system, then there is no more financial system. Businesses will go down because it is the only way you pay for goods and services. This is through the bank. You go on Twitter, you see people complaining every day. This one is shouting at money point. I sent money since 1 week. It has not gotten to the destination. The money has not returned to my account. Another one is shouting to another bank. Another one is shouting to another UBA. This one is shouting to Zenith and so on. Is that what we're going to be seeing? Can't we just get this and get it right? Everybody, especially those in the diaspora. Why is the target only those in the diaspora? Because they don't make use of their account more often. So they now assume they are dead. They now assume that this person will not have time to come and trace the account. And they just log into the account and disappear the money. I've had a case of someone who opened this app and discovered there's another phone that is not his own linked to the account. That's how they are moving money from the account. How? How would that happen? No security, nothing. And this is very painful, to say the least. So my point is that we really need to nip this thing in the bud. Who are these employees these banks are employing? Who are they? Where are they coming from? Who is monitoring what they do? What kind of system are the banks using? Because the system is supposed to be tracking every activities of each employees per time. How are they moving this money without even the branch manager knowing? If that is true, who are the group doing this thing? So they can find a new system. If you work for this branch 2 years, they transfer you somewhere else, so that they don't build a coalition of criminals who steal from people's account. So there should be some checks and balances to protect customers' funds, and that's why bank exists. Then the CBN, you need to begin to scrutinize these banks. That's why in America, before you know, you will hear there's one bank, they caught them AML fraud, and they bid them $1.3 billion. $3 billion they pay because they were caught red-handed for not following the Bank Secrecy Act. In Nigeria is the BOFIA, Bank and Other Financial Institution Act. This is what central bank need to. They are the regulators. So they need to intermittently be checking these banks, checking their books, checking what is going on in people's account, and so on and so forth. All these complaints people are bringing up, the challenges they are facing in their account. What is the bank doing? What is central bank doing? What are other banks doing to nip these things in the bud? What kind of AML, anti-money laundering, program do they have? What kind of system do they have to counter all these things and nip it in the bud? It is so sad that somebody put money in the bank and come back to withdraw his money and they're telling him that his money is missing. How did the money walk out of the bank and disappear? So you can't just fire the 9 people. You have to send them to prison to go and suffer for their crime. And whatever they own, EFCC, this is where you come in. So EFCC need to begin to pick these people from each banks. Investigate them, investigate their wealth, investigate their net worth. What do they have? What properties do they have? What kind of lifestyle are they living? Can their salary afford their lifestyle? If no, pick them, investigate them thoroughly. You will find out what they are doing. They are ruining people's life, ruining people's future, ruining the image of the country, and then destroying the image of the bank and ruining the financial institution. The whole financial system is already bastardized. You can't have criminals running banks. So personally, I read banking and finance because I love a job of integrity. But today, there's no more integrity in the bank. The employees most of them don't have integrity. They don't. And it's so sad. Everybody wants to be rich overnight. That's why they are robbing. What is the difference between them and the Yahoo boys? That's exactly what they do. They rob people to get themselves rich. Just look at the man. 550 million naira and 55 million in 2 occasions. That's very sad. Central Bank, please, I'm putting this at your doorstep. EFCC, I'm calling on you. DSS, please investigate this issue and nab those involved and make sure they rot in jail. They serve their full term because this is criminal. Look at the image of Nigeria out there. Look at our financial system. So, because you get to some point, Nigerian bank will want to get a correspondent bank in the US, in the UK. They won't because they will be afraid that they can't partner with them. Until it gets there, you people won't take action. So it's quite sad and it's quite unfortunate to see what this man is going through. I can feel his pain. I know what he means and what it takes to work in the diaspora to get that money they will change and put in that account. I know the pain to get those dollars or pounds. It's not easy to get it. And you just put it there with intention to build it, to be able to invest in Nigeria, set up something in Nigeria, and retire back home in Nigeria. And then this is what you get. This is exactly what you get. So what is the motivation? When people are working abroad, hoping that when they get to retirement age, they come back home with what they have saved in their account, they will use it to establish something. They manage it till they leave the earth. And suddenly, you just come back home, everything you have worked for is being stolen by some few crooked criminals in the bank. That's unfortunate. So the CEOs of bank, why is it that all these crimes are happening at your branches? So don't stop sitting in the headquarters. Go through these branches once in a while. Each state, target state 1, first quarter, you visit so branch. Second quarter, you visit so branch. That's what you do, so that we know what is happening in each branch. Because most of the reports I've read concerning banking fraud and crime comes from branch offices, not from the corporate office or headquarters. So that's where people commit all this fraud. So CEOs, bank chairmen, and the board, please wake up. Wake up. This is not fair. Wake up and do your job. Put an eye on what is happening in the bank. So, a whole first bank, for that matter. EFCC, DSS, CBN, all of you, please form a team and investigate this, fraud and be able to nip it in the bud. So I'm looking forward to hear the sanction that we're giving to First Bank for allowing this kind of thing to happen in their bank. They deserve sanction and they pay very heavy fine for doing that. Because when they are paying this fine, that's when they will sit up and be able to do the right thing. You can't try this kind of thing abroad. A client put money in the account and employees are stealing the money. You can't do that. You can't do that. Then you're already in jail. You can't try it. No matter how broke you are, you can't. Because there's a system that will fish you out immediately. So that is what it is. So guys, I'll leave this issue here, but I'm pained because I can feel the man pain and the shock, the disappointment. before he will get his confidence back to trust the bank to put his money there, it will be very, very difficult. That is the issue. And many people out there in the diaspora, they are seeing what is happening. They are learning. So most of them will stop, sending money back home. And these remittances that we do from the diaspora helps the government to shore up their foreign reserve, all right, and help to stabilize the naira. So when all these things are happening, people will stop sending money back home, and then you guys will understand the implication of what you have done. So guys, I'm gonna leave it out there. I don't know how you feel about this, but I would like to hear your comment in the comment section. Tell me what you feel. Tell me other ways you think this guy does these things, so that we'll make our voice, heard by the authorities, so that they can do what they're supposed to do. I don't know why they are sleeping. National Assembly is sleeping. They are sleeping, looking at a woman to know whether her cloth is transparent or not. They are sleeping, as you can see. So the Committee on Banking, both in the House of Rep and Senate, they are all sleeping. So, and it's very painful, all right? So, Mr. President, you need to deal with this problem. Anything that affects financial institution has affected the entire country as a whole, because even foreigners can't have confidence to transact with you guys because of the porous and weak financial system. They need to tighten it, strengthen it, ensure that employees don't have access to customers' account. So all these fake checkbook that they put out there to steal people's money, and all the channels they log on, they have a strange phone number in somebody's account, download the app, and then from there, transferring people's money from their app. It should stop. It should stop. So, well, if you are new to my channel, guys, please don't forget to like and share this video, and then subscribe to my channel, because we are trying to, create content that will educate the people and alert people to understand what, is transpiring around the country. So, don't forget to put on the notification bell, so that as soon as my next video drops, your bell will ring, notifying you that Andy Media TV has dropped a new content, and you'll be getting it as it is hot. All right. So I want to say thank you for stopping by to watch my videos, and I'm going to see you in my next episode, and then do have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. I'm signing out. See ya.